Okay, so we've been talking about finance and financial maths. Okay, so we learned about the simple interest formula. We learned how to get to the simple interest formula. Okay, we did some examples and then we learned something called hire purchase. Okay, you hire it, so you have it for a bit and then you own it. Hire purchase. Now, hire purchase is explicitly what kind of interest? Simple interest. So, if any kind of question talks about hire purchase, or you are getting a fridge from Macro, or you are, buying it and you're paying it off from Pep or something like that, it is hire purchase, which is going to be different. So we learned about that. We talked about it. We talked about how to find these different things. Okay. Now, what we're going to be doing, we're talking about compound interest. Okay. Now, compound interest is explicitly the kind of interest that banks use. Okay. So, things like investments, loans, home loans, car loans, student loans, all that kind of stuff. You're investing money in for, you're saving money for the future, and it's compound interest. It's all the bank related stuff. Okay, so that's how you can tell the difference. Now, the compound interest formula is very similar to the previous one, okay, but it looks like this. It is equal to P. A is equal to, so the A is my applied amount, or I'm going to put in the other options. It's the amount after, okay, the interest is applied. The P is the present amount, so the amount right now, okay. I is the interest rate, okay, and N is going to be, okay, what's it going to be? Do you remember from last time? The years. Now, in grade 10, we teach you something a little 10 and 11. We change that. It's no longer years, it's the number of times it is the compound interest is applied. But for now, it's just years. Okay. So, the A, the amount after interest. Okay. So, the proper name is the acquired amount, the principal, the interest, and the time period in. Okay. So when we have a look, this is our formula. So the simple interest formula, so simple interest, we know it is A is equal to P1 plus IN. All right. The compound interest formula is a little bit different. Okay. The compound interest formula is A is equal to P multiplied by 1 plus I, okay, to the power of N. Okay, it's to the power of N. Okay, do you want me to explain how we got that formula? All right. So, we're going to look at compounding. We know, I've just told you, it's A is equal to P 1 plus R to the power of N. Okay, so if you have a look, so we have A, our base formula, A is equal to P, okay, plus the interest, not the interest rate, the interest. So then my amount, okay, my interest can be broken down, okay, into the principal. Oh, that's not a nice, plus the interest rate multiplied by my principal. Okay, so that's how we get the interest. R multiplied by P. And then we do that and we say, okay, sure, no problem. And we can get P1 plus I. Now, previously we had a little n there for the time period. But now have a look. So this is now my interest rate. But now what happens after that? Okay, we got to add interest that is already on interest. So compound interest, it explicitly builds interest on your interest. Okay, so if I borrow you 20 Rand, okay, and you have to pay me 10% interest, and you don't pay me 22 Rand the next day, I'm going to say, okay, another 10%. 10% of 22 Rand is going to be 2 Rand 20 cents. So now you've got to pay me 24 Rand and 20 cents the next day. And if you don't pay me the 24 Rand 20 cents, then you've got another 10% the next day. So the compound interest is quite literally, interest is built not just on the principal, but on the interest that's already there. So you get interest on interest on interest. So taking out a home loan, by the time you finish paying it off in 20 years' time, that's a lot of money you've paid. Okay. But in reverse, if you put in a little bit of money, the interest, if you put into an investment amount, an investment savings, the little bit can grow a lot of money, little bit by little bit, because you're getting interest on your interest. Okay. So look, have a look. We're going to plus my principal, okay, multiplied by my, there. Okay. So we're going to multiply there, but we need to multiply that. Okay, because we need to multiply. Now what happens if we multiply like bases? What do we do? No? We add the exponent. So do you see how eventually, if you add on interest, and then add on interest, and then add on, you're eventually going to end up with P1 plus R multiplied to the power of N, to the power of times that this interest is applied. Okay, so don't worry too much about that. They're not going to be asking how you got it. All you got to understand is that compound interest is different to simple interest, okay? In that the way, what's that? I'm going to remove that, okay? Is that the N value is to the power of the bracket. Now, explicitly, it's power to the bracket, not to the R, okay? Yes. Okay, so if you're typing in the formula, so you want to say, so it's going to be P, okay, because P times 1 is P, plus, okay, what's going to happen? Can you do that? Can I say PI to the power of N? Can I do that? No, why can't I do that? See, because it's in a bracket and it's got exponent. We can't, BODMAS, we're breaking maths rules there, so we can't do that. Okay. You saying what? Okay, sorry, I apologize. Okay, but you see what's going to happen there. It's like you can do that, but you see what's going to happen. You're going to get to a point where there's so many times you're adding it. It's easier to just go onto your calculator and say P, and then open a bracket, 1 plus R, close the bracket, and then do the little to the power of button, and put it in there, and then put it in. Okay, so I'll show you how to do it. So let's practice. So find the value of an investment. Okay, investment is compound interest. Investment of 6,000 Rand after 3 years. Are there? They tell you compound interest of 11%. All right. So we're going to find out. Put in our formula first. Always put the formula. A is equal to P 1 plus I to the power of N. Now, we write the formula out every time because we're telling ourselves, we're confirming to ourselves what formula we're using, because the simple interest and compound interest is very similar. Okay, so you got to know exactly which one you're talking about. Don't just skip steps, okay, because that's when errors come up. So we're going to say the principal, what does you have at the present amount now was 6,000, okay, and then go 1 plus the interest is 11%. So what's that as a rate? 11 over 100, yes. And we close the bracket, and to the power of what? 3 years, yes. So we're taking our calculator, we're playing it, and just mark up now. Okay. So we're going to say 6,000 multiplied, and we're going to open a bracket, and then we say 1 plus 11 over 100, and then we close the bracket, and then you see there's a little X and there's a little black box on top of it. It looks like this. Looks like and then there's a black box filled in like that. We press that button, and then we type in 3 equals, so 8,205.79. Why 2 decimal places? Because, okay, not just because it's always, because it's in rands, exactly. So rands has rands and cents, and there's, so 2 decimal places with rands, always. Right. So the value of investment of 6,000 after 3 years is 8,000 rand. So how much money have you gained? You gained 2,205 rand. Okay. But now compare that to simple interest. Take the whole thing again, but don't say to the power of 3, say to the multiplied by 3 in the bracket there. Okay, with the simple interest, it's only 7,980. So do you see how compound interest is more? Because you haven't just got interest, you've got interest on your interest on your interest. Okay. Okay, any questions?
So,
yes.
So, if we don't 3 years and 2 years, we have sample interest on sample interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if it's 2 years, we can work it out. So, okay, check here. So we have A is equal to P1 plus Rn. Okay, let's just work it out. For the first year, P, it is 6,000, okay, 1 plus 11 over 100 for 1 year. So we're just going to put it like that for 1. Okay, because we're going to get to 3. That is going to get you to, so 6 multiplied by 1.1. It's going to be 6,660 rand. Now we're going to take it. Now we're going to take that. This is my new P. So A is equal to P1 plus Rn. And we're going to say 6,660 multiplied by 1 plus 11 over 100. And then for another 1 year. Okay. So we do that again. Multiply 1.11. We get 7,392.6. Okay. But now we apply it again. We're going to multiply. We're going to put the interest again. 11 over 100. And we do it again. And we multiply. Look at that. My answer after 3 rounds of applying interest, we have 8,205.79. Okay, so do you see how taking simple interest, okay, we're taking simple interest. We had 6,000, okay, and we applied interest and we got 6,660. But then we don't take 6,000 again. We take the 6,660 and then we apply interest and we get this. And then we apply interest again and then we get that. Why do we do it 3 times? Because 3 years. Okay, so basically simple interest. Compound interest is a kind of simple interest where you take it again and again and again. This is a simplified version. We don't need to multiply it all the time. That's too many steps. So we just say to the power of. Why? Because when we multiply like bases, we add the exponents. Okay. So let's have a look at another example here. Let's look. Okay. Mr. Long and Mrs. Short both invest, okay, 3,750 at 10% per annum for 4 years. So let's take that. Let's find my here. Both invest, so 3,750 rand. Is that what is that going to be? Is that my A or my P? My P, because that's what they have right now. At 10% per annum for 4 years. Okay. Now they said Mr. Long invests at simple interest, okay, and Miss Short at compound interest. Who made the better investment? The compound. Exactly. Why? Because it's to the exponent, because it's an exponential graph. It's going to get more and more and more and more and more. Simple interest, it's going to be the same stuff. Okay. So, when you have a look here, so compound there, who made the better investment? So we're going to work it out. So the A, okay, A of Mr. Long is going to be equal to P1 plus R in simple interest. Okay, so we're going to say his was 3,750 Rand. 1 plus the interest rate of 10%. So that's going to be what? What's my R value going to be? 10 over 100. And we're going to multiply it by 4. Plug that in, and what do you get? You get what? What? 5,490. No. Get 5,250. Oh, 5,250 Rand. Now, let's look at the Miss Short. So the A of Short, okay, is going to be P. She's compound interest, so we write out the formula. P 1 plus R to the power of N. Okay, so we take the 3,750 multiplied by 1 plus I, which is 10 over 100 to the power of 4. Plug that in now, and then now you should get right, okay. See, you need to be careful about which one's compound and which one's simple. So it's going to be 5,490.38. Okay, so which one's more? Clearly compound interest. The short made the better investment. Okay. If you have a look at it, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you over a time period here. So this is time, and this is the amount of money you have. If you invest in, okay, simple interest, you put in an amount, okay, and it grows like that. Okay, that's all that happens. But if you put it in compound interest, it starts at the same place, and for quite a while it looks like it's going on the same, but it's not. It's going there, 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 and then it starts picking up and picking up and picking up and picking up, and it keeps going and going and going. So have a look at that. Look at what I answered. There wasn't much difference because the amount they put in was very small. The time period they had it in there was very small. But if you put it over a longer period, it gets much, much bigger. Okay, you understand? Okay, let's have another one. So, do this one quickly. So, the population of orphan children, okay, at a time, wow. What a ugly question. Okay, the population there we go. Why is there orphan people in a town? Let's talk about cats. Okay, so the population of cats in a town is 2,450. Okay, each year this figure increases 5% on the previous year. What is the population of cats after 4 years? So an increase of 5% from each time. So we can do this little bit by little bit by little bit. Okay, so we can say 2,450 plus, okay, plus the 5% of that. Okay, 5% of that is going to be 2,450 plus 122.5. Right? Yes, I'm right. Okay. So after 1 year, it is going to be 257 2.5. Okay. 5% of 2,450. What do you mean? Yeah, so 2,450 equals, okay? And you're going to take 5%. So what's 5%? You multiply by 5%. It is going to give you 225.5. And then you got to add it on to that, because that's the growth. Okay. So now look what we're talking about. We're talking about money now. We're talking about what? Population growth. We're talking about exponential growth. Okay. Look at our things. It is growing exponentially. Okay. So this is for the first year. For the second year, what's it going to be? It's going to be a little bit different. Okay. So for the second year, we're going to say 2572.5, and we're plusing the 5% of that. So there's going to be 2572.5 plus 128.625. Yo, it's not been recording. Ish. Mm. No, normal test period time. Yeah, you still have a test. Okay. So we get it after the second year. 2572. Okay. So after the second year, we get a 2701.125. Okay. Because we take what we had plus the 10% growth, 5% growth, okay, which is that, and we add it on. And then we take another 5%, and we add it on, and we add it on, and we add it on. Okay. So, what is a quicker way of doing exponential growth? It's just our compound interest formula. So, we just say A is equal to P 1 plus I to the power of n. So how many cats did we start off with? 2,450. Okay. 1 plus, my interest rate was 5 over 100. And it's to the power of what? 4. Plug that in and we're going to get 2450 multiplied by 1 plus 5%, okay, to the power of 4. So after 4 years, we're going to have 2977.99. Now, tell me, is my units rands? No. Okay, what are my units? Cats. Okay, so what do you have to round up to? What do you have to round? How do you round? If it's to a whole number, yes, because if it is Okay, rands, you round to 2 decimal places. So how many cats do we have here? 2,978. Exactly. We can't have half the cats. All right. Okay. There we go.